Dracula, or Vlad the Impaler, was a man whose life was as bloody and violent as his reputation. Born into a milieu of political upheaval, he would soon find himself at the center of it. Vlad the Impaler rose to power with the help of his brilliant mind and savage tactics, earning the respect and dread of his subjects in equal measure. What, though, caused him to go to such lengths? What sort of mark did he make exactly? Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk about Vlad the Impaler and his impact on history. So let us begin. The second of four brothers, Vlad III, was probably born in 1431 in Transylvania, a rugged and verdant region in modern-day Romania. It officially became part of that country in 1947. Sneana, the Moldavian princess, was his mother. His father, Vlad II, was the illegitimate offspring of a Wallachian nobleman, and he spent his boyhood at the court of Sigismund of Luxembourg, King of Hungary and future Holy Roman Emperor. In the same year that Vlad III entered the world, his father was accepted into the Dragon's Order, the Christian military club formed in 1408 by Sigismund and consisting of 24 high-ranking knights who promised to battle heresy and oppose Ottoman expansion, was largely based on the medieval Crusaders. Once he became a member, the order bestowed the Dracula surname onto Vlad II, meaning dragon. Upon his death, his son Vlad III became known as Dracula. Although Sigismund appointed Vlad II voivode of Wallachia in 1436, the latter eventually turned against his master. He quickly changed sides and became an ally of Sultan Murad II of the Ottomans. Murad demanded that Vlad II hand over his two sons, Vlad III and Radu the Fair, as a form of loyalty insurance. The local aristocracy, known as boyars, deposed Vlad II as ruler of Wallachia in 1447 and then had him executed. During the same year, Mircea II, Vlad III's older brother, was blinded and then buried alive. In the wake of Vlad II's death, the Hungarian regent János Hunyadi elevated another Wallachian nobleman, Vladislav II, to the position of voivode. No one knows for sure what set off Vlad III's desire for vengeance, but it was evident that shortly after his release from Ottoman imprisonment in 1447, he began his quest for dominance. At the age of 16, Vlad III overthrew his father Vladislav II and rose to the kingdom of Wallachia with the aid of the Ottoman Empire in 1448. 2 months into his term as voivode, the Hungarians brought back Vladislav. The following 8 years of Vlad III's life are shrouded in mystery as he wandered the Ottoman Empire and Moldavia. He appears to have shifted allegiances at this time, securing the military backing of Hungary rather than the Ottoman Empire. When Vladislav II switched sides and joined the Turks, it set the stage for a showdown between the two rivals for the crown of Wallachia. On July 22, 1456, Vlad III confronted Vladislav outside of Targovishte and promptly severed his head. Vlad III had assumed power. The constant fighting between the Ottomans and the Hungarians, as well as the internecine conflict between the rival boyar families, had wreaked havoc on Wallachia. The economy had collapsed, the farms were abandoned, and lawlessness reigned throughout the land. At the outset of his reign, Vlad III implemented a severe crackdown on crime with absolutely no tolerance for even the little offenses, such as lying. By appointing commoners and even foreigners to high government positions, he consolidated his control by making bureaucrats wholly reliant on him. He had absolute power as voivode to nominate, remove, or even kill his new officers. Vlad III had a plan for exacting revenge on the boyars, the powerful men responsible for the deaths of his father and older brother. In 1459, he hosted a lavish Easter feast for 200 of them and their families. He had the ladies in the old stabbed and impaled, while he made the males work as slaves. While constructing Poenari Castle, one of Vlad III's favorite homes, many of these workmen would pass away from weariness. The new elites, the Vitei, farmers who had distinguished themselves on the battlefield, and the Slui, a national guard, were established by Vlad III to take the role of the boyars. The farmers and craftspeople of Wallachia were also freed from paying tribute to the Ottoman Empire thanks to his efforts. This is not to suggest that Vlad III was a kind ruler at home. At times, his own people were subjected to the same same brand of cruel retribution he meted out to his foes. He invited a huge number of people he saw as potential thieves to a feast, closed the doors, and set fire to everyone who hadn't paid for their meal. The Romani people were either killed or conscripted into the army against their will. He levied oppressive tax rates on the German people and cut off their access to international markets until they paid up. It's worth noting that many of the Germans who fought for Vlad III were actually Saxons. They were Germans who had settled in Transylvania in the 12th century after the country was captured by Hungary, and they should not be confused with the Anglo-Saxons of England. The majority of them were prosperous businessmen, but Vlad III saw them as adversaries of his. In the years that followed, Vlad III destroyed entire Saxon settlements and impaled thousands of people. The Transylvanian Saxon city of Kronstadt, today's Brasov, backed a competitor of Vlad III in 1459, prompting a brutal reprisal from the voivode. After restricting trade in Wallachia for Saxon goods, he had 30,000 people impaled and 8 among them to feel their pain. In addition, he ordered Kronstadt to be destroyed by fire. When he returned home to Wallachia, he impaled any Saxon traders who disobeyed his trade regulations. His adversaries had already given him the less honorable sobriquet Tempest, the Impaler, despite the fact that Vlad maintained to sign his name Vladislaus Dragmila, son of the dragon, which identified him in the illustrious Order of the Dragon. Some of Vlad III's people, who were Orthodox Christians and felt discriminated against by Hungarians and Saxon Catholics in Transylvania, supported his murderous attacks on Catholic villages. Numerous cities, including Sibiu, Tarabarse, Amlas, and Fagara, were attacked and destroyed before finally capitulating in 1460. It was reported to Pope Pius II in 1462 that Vlad III had slaughtered some 40,000 people in retaliation for these attacks. When compared to his father and many other leaders of the time, Vlad III pursued a very different foreign strategy. He continued to fight against the Turks and was backed by King Matthias I of Hungary, born János Hunyadi. Vlad III's methods against the Turks, both on and off the field of combat, were particularly cruel. To enforce his claim for a tribute of 10,000 ducats and 300 young boys, Mehmed II dispatched an ambassador to Vlad III in 1459. Vlad III honored the ambassador's loyalty by fastening their turbans to their head when they refused to remove them, citing religious custom as their reason. In 1461, the Turks pretended to meet with Vlad for a peace conference while secretly planning to ambush him. For his part, Vlad III replied by attacking Turkish territory south of the Danube. Mehmed II mustered an army of 90,000 troops and marched on Wallachia in the spring of 1462. Vlad III's signature strategy was to impale more than 23,000 prisoners and their families and display them along the enemy's route outside of Targoviste after he had successfully attacked the city during the night and engaged in guerrilla warfare. Birds had established nests in their intestines, and there were babies glued to their mothers on the stakes, as described by French historian Mattei Cazacu. Upon seeing the forest of the dead, Mehmed II turned around and marched back to Constantinople because the sight was so gruesome. For his part, Vlad III wrote to Matthias I to explain that he had slaughtered peasants, men, and women, elderly and young. There were 23,884 Turks slaughtered by our hands, and that doesn't include the number whose homes we torched or whose heads our men severed. He brought back a bag full of severed noses and ears as proof that what he said was true. Simple peasants, including Christians from Serbia and Bulgaria who had been conquered by the Turks, made up the vast majority of those killed, a fact that was acknowledged by Vlad III himself. The Turks won because the Wallachian boyars had defected to Radu, Vlad III's brother. By joining forces with the Ottoman Empire, Radu assured the nobility that they would once again enjoy the privileges that Vlad III had taken away. The Romanian people, sick and tired of Vlad III's bloodlust, rallied behind Radu. In 1462, Matthias I captured Vlad III because of the decline in his authority, wealth, and army. As rulership of Wallachia shifted hands multiple times during Vlad's 12 years in prison in Hungary, the country experienced experienced a period of political instability. In about 1475, Matthias I of Hungary dispatched Vlad III on a mission to reclaim Wallachia for his country. Even though Vlad III first triumphed in November of 1476, he was soundly defeated the following month. His competitor, with the help of Ottoman troops, ambushed him and killed him. Most accounts agree that Mehmed II of Constantinople received his severed head and exhibited it prominently in the capital. The recent great success of movies like Twilight and Blade is simply the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the enduring popularity of themes like vampires and werewolves, immortal counts, and strange locales in Hollywood. Vampires have a timeless appeal that defies the passage of time. There's no denying that Vlad the Impaler and his avatar Count Dracula are largely responsible for the widespread interest in scary legends. And we have to admit, without Dracula, things would be fairly boring. Therefore, I'd want to express my gratitude to Mr. Bram Stoker for penning the book that many believe altered the lives of vampires forever. It also shifted the spotlight to Romania, which emerged as the de facto capital of the vampire world very quickly. Today, not only are the events and locations associated with Vlad the Impaler considered historical proof, but they are also recognized as the inspiration for the enthralling Dracula stories. One of the first, greatest, and most extensive and longest-lasting negative branding campaigns ever was the Saxon and Ottoman chroniclers of the 15th to 17th centuries, labeling Vlad as a human flesh-eater, sadist, ruthless, and devil worshipper. In Anne Rice's The Vampire Chronicles, these documents serve as the official birth records of future vampires such as Dracula, Lestat, and Armand. Numerous biographies and books have been written on Vlad the Impaler, but most of them focus on the brutality that earned him his name. Michael Beheim, a contemporary German writer, produced his Dracula poem in 1463, painting a bleak picture of the leader Vlad the Impaler. More than a century later in Flauhat's, German poet Fischeret describes Dracula eating amid the corpses of his victims. Many believe that Bram Stoker's inspiration for his character Count Dracula may be traced back to Johann Christian Engel's description of Vlad as a brutal ruler in his book, The History of Moldavia and Wallachia, published in 1804. A new novel based on Vlad the Impaler's life and the Dracula tale was published in 2005, but the legend lives on. Bringing both fiction and actual historical events, American author Elizabeth Johnson Kostova's debut novel, The Historian, was a smashing success. So that is all the time we had today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and to hit the bell icon to remain updated about all our future videos. See you all next time.